What's up, everybody? Thanks again for stopping by for another edition of March 4th with Mike Bauman. I, of course, am your host, Mike Bauman. Whoever you are, wherever you are listening from, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. If you're a returning listener, I greatly appreciate your continued love and support. And if you're a brand new listener of the show, thank you so much for hopping aboard that pirate ship. You can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at March 4th Pod. The link tree with all of my stuff is in the podcast description for this episode. So that means if you made it here, then you found me somehows. And I truly appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to check out another edition of the March 4th with Mike Bauman podcast. How is everybody doing? I hope that this finds you well as it hits your eardrums as we are officially in summer and it's heating up, but there's a lot of really good shows going on right now, a lot of really good tours. I feel really blessed and fortunate to be in an area like Nashville, where there's just a really awesome local music scene, and pretty much whatever you like is going to come through at some point. Because kind of like where I grew up with Detroit, Rock City, Nashville being the music city, pretty much everybody and their brother wants to play here. So yeah, man, I hope that everybody is doing well. And if not, keep your head up. We are recording this, well, it's officially out anyway, at the tail end of Pride Month, as well as Men's Mental Health. Men's Mental Health. I said that like I was an old Southern man. But the tail end of, I'm a big goofball, folks, if you haven't noticed, the tail end of Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, in addition to Pride Month. So everybody out there, man, I just hope that you're taking care of yourselves, and respecting everyone around you, and just trying to spread love and positivity. I know that might sound kind of hippy dippy to some people, but it's really how I try to live my life, man. Is just try to leave people, places, and things better than where you found them. And treat people the way that you want to be treated. The golden rule. Life is pretty simple sometimes in terms of just how you carry yourself. Um, I wish more people felt that way in terms of respecting other people, regardless of their background or their sexual orientation, or whether or not they struggle with mental health. But not everybody's like that. But for those of you out there who do treat others around you, regardless of their sexual orientation, their religious beliefs, mental health, for everybody who just, another way to say it, I always say is, and I this isn't something that I came up with. This is a quote that I came across that I really loved, which is, treat everyone you meet as if they were you in a different life. And, I think that's helped me approach life with a lot of grace and, empathy, knowing that, hey, I shouldn't look at this person as a stranger, or I shouldn't put them in a box based on, what they do or whatever. It's like that person could be me in just a different walk of life. And so, how do you treat yourself, right? And yeah, man. So I hope everybody's taking care of themselves, and I hope you're getting a chance to have some fun this summer, whether it's getting outside, spending time in nature like your boy. I like to do that, even though it's starting to get kind of hot for this Midwesterner. Going to concerts, spending time with family, with friends, picking up a new hobby, maybe exercising, music, whatever it may be, collecting. There's some people out there that are collecting VHS. I think that's freaking awesome, dude. I miss VHS tapes. Um, miss them a lot. Shout out to Heavyweights and the Sandlot for some reason. All Dogs Go to Heaven. For some reason, those stick out to me as awesome VHSs when we were younger. We also wore out the Little Giants, Little Monsters, all of those. I digress, but take care of yourselves, man. Be good to each other. And speaking of being good to each other and putting positivity out into the world, man, I was so fortunate and grateful that I linked up with this awesome artist. And in the hour conversation that we had, just a beautiful soul and a very talented person that I'm glad that I came across. She is none other than Nadia Vaeh. She is a Nashville-based singer who came here by way of LA and Atlanta, where she's originally from. And she bills her sound as poptimistic-rock, which I think is really dope because, as somebody who's a mental health advocate, she has really turned the darkness in her life into light. and into just positive energy in her music and the way that she carries herself. And it was kind of cool how the way the universe works. Shout out to Jacqueline, another dope singer, and mental health songwriter nights, everything she's doing with mental health. By the way, quick aside, she's taking it on the road this summer. I digress. But Nadia actually performed on the last mental health songwriters nights event, which I think was like early May. And I was working on a surprise video for my mother's 70th, and I just lost track of time that day and I didn't get a chance to go, unfortunately. But having said that, Nadia was actually part of that mental health songwriters night that Shaklina put on in Franklin. And I came across her page, I think, from seeing some posts that Jacqueline had done about that night and checked out her music. I'm like, oh, dude, she's got a really good voice. Her music videos are awesome and really creative and a lot of fun. Just the imagery and the meaning behind them. And then I read a little bit about her story. So I was like, man, she's a mental health advocate, and she, has gone through some difficult things in her life, lost her mom at a young age, and has really, taken all of that energy and really put it into helping other people, expressing herself, being open on her social media about her struggles, but also connecting with people through a positive way with her music. So I'm like, I'm going to shoot my shot and hit her up and see if she wants to come on the pod. And not long after we connected and got a time set up to do the Zoom conversation for the episode, Jacqueline messaged me with Nadia's profile. I didn't even know if Nadia knows this. And she was like, hey, Nadia is really awesome. She sent me her profile on Instagram. And I was like, dude, this is crazy because I literally just like messaged her and we connected and set up a time to do the podcast. So it's funny how the universe works, man. And just positivity begets positivity, right? What you put out, you get back. And I really love her sound. Some of my favorite songs from Nadia are Caught in the Middle, Anxiety, Feel the Heat, Friends You Couldn't Keep, I think too much, Rewind. At the end of that music video, she does a really heartfelt tribute to her mom. And her latest single is Honeysuckles, which just came out on May 22nd. That's a really great listen as well. So yeah, man, just in the short time that we got to connect for this show, seems like just a really down to earth, dope soul, a lot of positive energy. So on this one, we talk about her love for music, finding her voice, getting into it at a younger age, developing her confidence on stage, what it's like to have her partner and her producer Tyler, working with him and their relationship, but also their relationship musically, what they've gone through, and the latest one, Honeysuckles. So without further ado, I'm gonna shut my big yapper and give you guys my conversation with Nadia Vaeh. Here it is. Well, Nadia, thank you again so much for taking the time to do the show. I really appreciate it. Like we were talking about before the jump, shout out to Jacqueline and Bobby Spencer, man. Like they're awesome. And when she sent me your info on Instagram, we had already like connected. So I'm like, it was a sign from the universe to make it happen. So I really appreciate you joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I always do my homework. So I try I try not to cover ground that's been like covered before, but at the same time, like I feel like your journey is an interesting one, and like the reasons like behind your music and the mental health tie-in. It's pretty powerful stuff, man. So it was really cool to go back and like listen through your music and look at the music videos. I know that you had said some of your earlier influences were like Jewel, I think was among them, like Avril Lavigne. Um, I think you had also mentioned like Paramore at one point, but what I want to know, Nadia, is, and it's kind of a question I ask everybody, but I like to go back. I've worked out getting my Y's before my A's with my Midwest accent, by the way. So when I do that, it's just kind of a nod to my Midwest brothers and sisters.
Midwest is the best.
But what was like, was there an artist or a song that initially got you going down the rabbit hole musically, or like your earliest musical memory?
So my earliest musical memory was receiving cassette tapes that were the Spice Girls. I think it was like their second album, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have them somewhere in my dad's house, but I just remember being like, what is this? Like, these are earworms. They're living rent free in my brain. Like, this is like so like I just love the way like the songs like scratched my brain, and I knew I wanted to make music like that. Um, Definitely a pop girly, which is why. And but then I later obviously discovered rock, and like the merging of the two was just like so satisfying, and it allowed me to like explore things in a different way than just the pop lens would. But definitely like formative, like get receiving those cassette tapes and listening to them and being like, this is incredible, like you can do this as a thing like for your life.
And your first band was at high school? Was your first band?
Yes, yeah, I had a screamo emo band. We were called Broken Harmony, and we like did the whole MySpace thing. We had some really crappy recordings that are somewhere on that MySpace page. I think I hope they're on a hard drive somewhere. I want to find them someday. But super sappy, sad screamo.
That was the area though, or the era though, because you're a millennial too, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
Strong
like
one.
the MySpace era, I thought it was cool though because if you were a band, like even if you were a local band and you put your music out there, it could catch on pretty quickly. Like I feel like now the algorithms almost like I don't want to say like work against you, but it's hard to like catch on. I feel like you have to make so much content. But I feel like on MySpace you could connect with other artists, you could connect with fans. It felt like you could get songs out there. Not that the accessibility is hard now because you can find stuff, but I just feel like in terms of getting to more people sooner, it felt like MySpace was better than some of the stuff now, where it feels like you have to get on these playlists and really pump the content on social media.
Yeah, and it was also the age of the burnt CDs. So like you and your friends were seeking out like the latest and greatest. And like a love language was like, hey, I made this CD for you. So you got to discover so many new bands. And I actually like just had a memory hit of a CD I received from my friend Morgan. And it was like a little mix that had a bunch of songs from the OC soundtrack. Like, and I just remember listening to it, and then like that was a gateway drug into actually like binge watching that show. But just that doesn't exist anymore. I feel like it's kind of it was such a beautiful time of discovery, and it honestly is sad to think that like the youth of these days doesn't get to have that.
I do feel like I still have the Case Logics in my trunk too. I'll never get rid of those. I have like the big book one. Some of the younger listeners probably like Case Logic. It was like these big CD, basically like again, I'm gonna date myself when I say this too, but it was basically like a trapper keeper for all of your CDs. Like but yeah, the CD mix, those were cool. I remember making some for my buddies. They would send me stuff. Yeah, and now I mean now you can make like a playlist for somebody, which is still kind of like a cool thing. Like, hey, these songs, but there was something about like the burnt CD that was cool.
The
Uh,
extra layer of effort too. You had to really like take time.
yeah, and you had to find I remember in the early days, shout out to my buddy Mike Walker. He was early on with Napster, so he could get like good recordings. But even before then, I think my big brother was on like there was like mp3.com, which was like before I started using all of that. But yeah, the burn CDs. I mean, it's nice now to have the convenience of like just plugging in an auxiliary cord or like a USB. But
You have everything,
uh,
all the CDs right here.
yeah, yeah. I know it started to trip me out too that like headphones were more expensive than like when you used to have like I still have my iPod too, you know? And then all of a sudden it was like people were spending $400 for headphones and it was crazy. But were there other band names before that one like or was that one pretty like on the like was that one of the early renditions?
That was definitely like very, very beginnings of like realizing I really loved just the concept of like making music and lyrics. And from there, I definitely Celine Dion. I know it's just like a weird like side street, but like my dad was always spinning Celine Dion and also the French albums. And I just remember like being like, what a queen. Like her vocal is just like so and I think like what really took me down the songwriting path though was studying the pamphlets of like Jewel's Pieces of Me, Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette, like just like looking at the poetry in such a deep way. And uh no doubt, just like really studying those lyrics. And like all of those artists came to me at a really interesting time too, when my mom was struggling with her mental health, and a lot of those songs just kind of helped me make sense of what was going on. Also 3 Days Grace, shout out. Like uh yeah, just I feel like those artists during that time period, I was just really like into their lyrics, and I feel like they kind of helped guide me in my own pen, to get started. Like they inspired me to actually like get going, writing my own stuff. So
For sure. Like when did you first discover your voice? Like how soon before high school, or like when did you first start performing or really like know like, oh, I can sing?
so I was like maybe 7 or so, and I was singing like a NSYNC song. Yeah, it's tearing up my heart when I'm with you. But I was just like singing it in the bathroom, and my aunt was like, "Was that the radio?" And I was like, "No, that was me. That was me." Um, and I kind of just felt like in this moment, I was like, "Oh, this is something I'm good at," and like being a little neurospicy, like I was like, "Oh, I'm good at this. Like, let me go all in." So then I just really kind of hyper fixated on learning how to sing, and I like was like, I want to join choir. My family couldn't really afford vocal lessons, so we got me into this choral program because I had like been begging my mom, like, I need to sing, like I need to get better at this. So she found this choral program, and I was a part of that, and I learned like 3-part harmonies, and I got to understand more about just how to form melodies and music, through that experience. And my sisters, like growing up, they were like, shut up. Like they were like not about it. Now they're all about it, but like, when you're like a kid, like you're like, my big sister's being so annoying. And I'm sure I was, because I wasn't always good. I didn't start out like just like Celine. But I remember like the time in choir was so imperative for me to like kind of explore my voice and not have any like ridicule, and like to have good guidance. Like my choral leaders were really great about just like helping me hone my stuff. So that was a good part of lending towards me finding this as a career, I think.
Any names from back then you want to give a shout out from those early choir days?
Mrs. Langley, Mrs. Peoples, uh oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Why is my brain not working? No, no, have we reached the state of millennialism where names leave us? Mr. Phipps. There we go.
That's awesome. I feel like
Philip
yeah,
Philip Philip Schultz. There we go. Philip Schultz.
Philip Schultz.
Yeah.
Shout out shout out Mr. Schultz. Yeah, I feel like it's those things that like we don't ask for, but that we're naturally drawn to, that we're supposed to pursue. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like whatever it is. Like one of my brothers, when he was a kid, he used to draw airplanes, and like he got Flight Simulator, which was like this PC game, and he had a joystick and would fly. And I was into sports and music when I was younger, but I would always want him to just like, hey, can you see if you can like fly into the stadium in like whatever city? Um, but before like 9/11, we lived not far. I grew up in Toledo, which is about an hour south of Detroit. And Detroit's got a lot of rich music history, and it was cool growing up in Toledo because for sports and music, we were surrounded by, bigger cities where we were within a few hours drive or like an hour drive to Detroit, where there was a lot going on. And there was a lot of Toledo's got a good music history too. There's some cool local venues there that are still there, like Frankie's Inner City, where like the White Stripes played back in the day, and Smashing Pumpkins, like this cool, small, intimate venue where all these awesome artists played. Anyway, it was before my time. I was a little guy, and I don't think my mom was. I remember I wanted to see Seven Dust and Creed when I was like 12 years old.
Mhm.
and at Toledo Sports Arena, and she's like, "Oh, honey, people are going to be smoking pot." Like,
Mhm.
um, but anyway, oh yeah, where was I going with that? Sorry, my brain kind of goes in different places. But yeah, so my brother, we used to drive up to my dad would take us up to Detroit Metro Airport, and we would park off of I think it was Eureka Road. And for my brother, that was like going to like a sporting event for me. You know, he would sit there and have his binoculars, and he knew the kinds of planes that were flying in. And now he's a pilot. So anyway, I think it's cool when people like yourself know when they're young, like this is something that I love. And you know, you kind of have that foresight of like, yeah, this is something that I really want to do.
Yeah, I think music was such a great place of refuge. I was a very sensitive kid, and it was like the place that I could go and make sense of the world. And like from the bands I previously mentioned, I like started diving into like bands that were hitting like Warped Tour stage, and like really going down into like the rock, alt rock, pop rock sphere. And that's when I like really locked in, and that's when I was like, I got to have my own project. Like this is what I want to do. um and yeah, music's, it's a little healer, it's a little healer.
It is, man. Yeah, it's like that one thing. I feel like for people like yourself who love it as an artist, and people like myself that love it as like listeners and fans of music, especially when you really love something, it's not just a commodity, you know? And like for me, music is like, yeah, it's the one thing when because I've struggled with anxiety since I was a little guy, and like intrusive thoughts, definitely some like OCD tendencies. I've gotten better. Um Sometimes social anxiety. I'm kind of like an extroverted introvert. I prefer like smaller groups of people. I mean, concerts are dope because it's like you're all kind of there for the same thing and it's like a spiritual experience. But anyway, yeah, like it's those the music is where I always felt like I could go um when I couldn't or didn't feel like comfortable talking to people about whatever I was going through. But those songs would always be there. And it's still like that. Like even in my late 30s now, it's like music is always still that place. And you mentioned like turning poetry like into songwriting, and your mom did poetry and stuff, right? Like or she would have like words of the day, like very like was did that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my mom was cool and like very she was kind of a hippie. And she really loved art and music, and she did whatever she could to support our creative sides. um and one of the things was she would do these daily word of the days to help us expand our vocabulary. And she wrote a lot of poetry on her own. And she actually helped me form my first poem when I was like, I don't know, I want to say like 8 or 9 or something. She like taught me how to make, I think it was like a limerick style poem. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a fun little puzzle, like a little puzzle of words. And she was very, very talented. And I think, you know, she was also very sensitive and struggled with her mental health. And I think that that was a way for her to like really sift through what was going on internally. So,
For sure, man, for sure. Shout out to mom, man. And yeah, like I feel like the written word is like a really powerful part of it, right? Like sometimes I think about that. I like man, if I journaled, it would probably help get all the stuff out, and I feel like music, I'm sure for you as a songwriter is probably like that too, right? Like whether it's melody, words, and then having the talent and the ability and all these years of experience to be able to put those like come to fruition, you know what I mean? Like even the creative music videos that you do. Like
thank
it was so cool watching those and seeing like the creativity and the effort that went into those. But anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like you were about to say something and I just went on another mini rant. I'm
You're
sorry.
good. I get very long-winded and I have ADHD, and I'm here one day and then I'm over here and then I'm like, yeah. So no, you're good. But thank you, and thanks for checking out the videos. I'm very proud of those projects. We've been able to like, it's really just been my friends and I making those videos with like maximum maybe $200. Like, so it's really cool to see people enjoying those projects. And it's always so fun to bring them to life with my homies. But I like in regards to like poetry and music and like that as an outlet, I feel like there's something so special about sharing. That's why concerts are so healing. Like the sharing of the art is like the part that's like the most impactful part of healing. Like me writing a song, I always feel such a sense of relief like after. I'm like, oh my God, that was like, ah, like, oh wait, is lifted. But it's in the sharing part that I think where the most healing happens, because one person might connect with one of my songs and it's like, oh wow, like we're both experiencing this thing that's so crazy, and it just helps you feel less alone in this very sometimes isolating human experience. And especially if you're a person that has like a degree of social anxiety, sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable and like connect on that deeper plane, and like music can be such a great way to like do it without like it being too much on edge, uncomfortable. So I think our parents' generation didn't quite have the same outlet and access to art that we have. And I think mental health was looked at so differently back in the day. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I definitely feel like there was a lot of like stuff it down. There's a lot of shame associated with it, and like a stigma associated with it. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, on one end there was so much good music back then. Like I sometimes I wish I could time travel back to the 80s. Like I'm a big nerd. Like The Goonies is my favorite movie ever, and it was just like the gosh, was it 41st anniversary? I think it was like June 7th, 1985. Um, and I'm like, dude, I would totally time travel back to that to see the Goonies in the theater, or like when Metallica opened for Ozzy in like the 80s. But yeah, there was a lot of really good music back then in like the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s when I was a kid. But yeah, I feel like we're definitely at a place now where people feel more comfortable talking about mental health, which I think is a good thing, a really good thing. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that like suffer in silence, or were made to feel like they kind of had to, you know. And that's like it's a real bummer, to put it mildly, right? The amount of people that would be happier, healthier, still here. It's tough, man, and that's part of why I like doing this podcast, because it's kind of like it's cathartic, like for me, because you realize you're not alone in whatever you're struggling with. And I think music has always been such a healing force for me that it's cool when I get to talk to people like you, and other artists who have been on the show. Shaklina, shout out again, her and Bobby. Like you just realize, like, I don't know, like it's okay to not be okay. And there's a lot of people that, no two life experiences are the same. Um, but I think be being in a space where you feel comfortable to just be who you are is like one of the like that's like the ultimate, right? Like if we could all, that's why I admire people that are really comfortable in their own skin, because it's hard. Like I think all of us would love to just be like, yeah, I don't care what anybody thinks, but it really is hard to just be like vulnerable, and so I've always admired that about artists, the vulnerability of like taking those thoughts and those emotions and creating art from it, but then performing for people, you know. Yeah. So again, there's another mini rant for you. There wasn't even a question.
no, you're good. I think it's definitely like the mental health nights that Zaklina puts on. Um, those are so special, and I'm really happy to see that more of those are coming forward, because I think it is creating more space for people to just show up literally as they are, no judgment, you know. It like literally that night I was so stressed out about like just so many other life things. I was like, I don't even have time to do this. Like I just remember like being on the way. I'm like, ah. And then I was like, at the end, I was like, I'm really glad I did that. Like that was really special. But it's just, it's like um hard to take the time to gather too in this modern world and like be amongst your people and yeah, share. So that's why concerts are so important.
Did it
But
take you time, Nadia, to And thanks again so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Did it take you time to get comfortable performing like in front of people, like and taking the poetry and the music and the songwriting and taking it to like, hey, now there's an audience.
Absolutely. I used to suffer from the worst performance anxiety. Like it was debilitating to the point where like I would have like gut issues. I would like be sweating and like it was like I couldn't eat. Like it was so bad. But I've been working a lot on my nervous system over the last few years, doing a lot of like somatic stuff and just like meditation and mantra work and um it's also just been exposure therapy, like going and doing it. I always tell like if somebody comes to me and they're like, I don't know how to like overcome this, performance anxiety, I'm like, just go do it. Like whether it's a open mic or a karaoke bar or anything, just go do it and embarrass yourself. I've embarrassed myself so much publicly to the point now where I think my nervous system is like, that's not even going to be half as bad as that one time. Like we're good. Um, so I think it's definitely scary putting yourself out there, but I feel much safer doing it. And I also think a big part of that has been having wonderful bandmates. I have these two, shout out to Christian and Christian and Alex Morrison. I feel like having bandmates that have your back is really important. And up on stage, like if anything's going awry, like I know those two guys got me and they make me feel very safe up there. So
Shout out to those dudes, man. Yeah, I checked off some songs, and I always feel weird sharing these with artists. Um, because I'm sure for you it's probably like with people, being like, who's your favorite kid? It's like, you know what I mean? They're all your babies, all the songs are, but some that stuck out to me, anxiety definitely, because like I said, your boy's got anxiety. Um, Caught in the Middle, Feel the Heat, Friends You Couldn't Keep, I think Too Much for sure. And then Rewind, and then that music video was really powerful. And just quick preface, and usually I say this at the beginning, I don't take people any places they don't want to go, or don't feel comfortable going, but that was a really awesome tribute to your mom,
thank
and
you.
especially like the end of it. um I admired the fact that you were able to like get through that, man. It was a really cool video. And I thought it was cool. Didn't the bus have like Nadia Vaeh on it? It was like spray painted on there.
Yes, my friend Sarah Corley did the art on the side of the bus. She went in and in like I think it was like 100 degrees, 102 or something insane, like record heat in Georgia. And they had the day before her and her daughter were out there like, it turned out so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And I guess just with, you know, what you've gone through in your life, Nadia, like, and there's been like even like you're, and again, I'm not trying to bring up gnarly stuff, so we can totally switch off it,
I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Yeah.
but even seeing like what your partner went through, like seeing the pictures from that accident, it was just like that was super gnarly. So obviously I'm glad that he survived that and that he's here. And then you guys did a funny video where you did like I don't know if it was like personality switch, but it was like he dressed up like him, and it was and I didn't know about the grocery store job until I started doing some like more research. And so it was funny like seeing him like the wig on and stuff. But yeah, I mean, just like and you've mentioned in like another conversation about like just having like a positive outlook on things. Like I think for somebody who's gone through losing your mom at a young age, going through that scary situation with your partner, like how have you been able to keep, I guess, that positive outlook, or kind of like being able to harness like the darkness and those difficult things and channeling it into in a positive way?
That's a good question. I think one of the biggest forces for how I transmute stuff into that is my mom. My mom was always like one of those people that if life was giving her lemons, she was like, all right, well, let's have a little cocktail, you know? Like I don't know. She always had such a way of spinning a negative into a positive, and she was so creative. Like, just example, like, let's just say the avocados were going bad. Let's just say she had a bunch of produce that was going bad. She's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna throw it all in one dish and I'm gonna make it work, and this is gonna be some sort of goulash and it's gonna be awesome. Like, you know, most people would look at that and be like, okay, well, I guess I gotta throw all this produce away. She's like, no, I'm just gonna make it work for this moment and zhuzh it up into something that will still serve us and nourish our bodies. And I feel like I get that spirit from her. And I think the more that I've practiced transmuting negative experiences into positives, or like finding the silver lining, and not in like a toxic positivity sort of way, but like really taking a look and being like, what was God or the universe, or however you want to frame it, trying to show me? What was God trying to teach me in this moment? Um, and I, with Tyler's accident, this is a perfect example. At the time of Tyler's accident, we were going a million miles per hour. Like, something was bound to happen, whether good or bad, to make us hit the brakes, essentially, like, pun intended. Like, and we needed to take a moment to regroup, and his accident honestly offered us that. It was really hard, and it's still hard. He's still, I mean, he's a literally like a walking miracle, but he still suffers from headaches with the TBI. And I think I may have developed an autoimmune disorder through like just being in caregiver mode. And so like we're both like on a physical and mental healing journey together, which is really cool. But this whole time period has taught us, one, we have to take better care of ourselves. Two, we need to slow down. There's no sense in racing towards some arbitrary finish line. Like, it's really about the journey. And that's what the whole experience has continually been teaching us. And it's also allowed us a clearer lens to refine what we're doing in such a more, it's allowed us to refine what we're doing in a much more impactful way. So I look at the art I was creating like pre-accident, and I look at the art I'm creating now, and I see an honesty that wasn't there. So to answer your question, the more that I practice the, I guess, art of like taking something negative and twisting it into a positive, like the easier it gets to find that path with it. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, absolutely.
long-winded.
No, you don't have to. No, you don't have to apologize at all. That's what's good about podcasts. You can,
You
you
can
can
gab all
expound.
day.
Yeah, and I try to be really good about like not interjecting. Because sometimes I do that with like the people I love when we're on the phone, and it's just it's just like, yeah, there's just like so much bouncing around in here all the time, like a pinball machine, and I'm like I'm trying hard to just be like yeah, no, so no,
I get
it's
it. I get it. I my best friend and I were both ADHD, so when we get together, it's just like, but no one gets offended when the other person's interrupting, because it's just we pick up wherever, and yeah, it's an interesting flow. It's fun.
I think part of it. You said you have sisters. You're the
Yeah,
elder.
yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it too is like growing up. Like I'm in the middle, so my
Gotta
brother.
give it.
Yeah, yeah, you got to get the word isn't edgewise, man. And like, yeah, my brother, I have a brother that's 2 years older. I have another brother who's 6 years older. And then I have a younger sister who's 2 years younger. And then when my dad got remarried, I have two stepbrothers. I don't get to see him as much, but I love you, Jared and Jason. But yeah, so I think that's part of it too, man. And there's a lot of big personality. I love my family. A lot of big personalities in my family. So um, but yeah, no, I mean, but I feel like kind of like in what you shared, and I appreciate you sharing that, Nadia, and your time, like genuinely. But as I was learning about your journey beyond the music, I was like, damn, she's really been through a lot of really difficult things in life. And I think being able to translate negativity into positivity is like it's like one of the biggest things in life that you can do, man. And finding like healthy outlets for pain or trauma, whether it's physical or emotional or mental. And so, you know, that like the whole theme behind like this show, March 4th, is like perseverance and moving forward. And yeah, I think being able to kind of like slow down, like you said, that's a big part of life too. Especially when you have a brain that's like this, like mine, where it's like a hamster in a wheel. It's like you can't, like you said, you can't be everything to everyone. You can't be everywhere all at once, too, you know? So finding like that balance, and it's tough, man, because it's like I feel like our brains have constant stimulation now. Like I even have to check myself on that. I'm like, how much time do I actually spend like just in silence? As much as I love music, and I'm like, how, like I listen to like binaural beats when I sleep. I listen to podcast music, like I watched the, and I'm like, dude, like working on a computer for my day job, like looking at screens and blue light. I'm like, so that's like the last few years. That's been like one of my things is like getting out in nature more. No headphones, no nothing, just like being outside. Um, and I don't know, maybe that's me getting older. Like, hey, what do you like to do for fun? Like, I like to take walks outside, but it
I
really
like,
is so clearing for your head.
yeah, it honestly, I mean, taking a daily little, taking myself out on a little walkie, whether or not I have a puppy, is like it's just so. I get why these guys need that. Like we need it too, you know. We need a little walkie.
Tennessee's a beautiful state too, because you guys, you've been in Nashville, was a little over a year, 2 years? How long have you been in Nashville now?
November 2024. So
Okay.
coming up on 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of what I loved about it when I moved here was like you could get like 15 minutes outside of the city and it's like beautiful rolling hills um and within a few hours drive of here too, there's like a lot of really cool waterfalls and parks and stuff. If you're into that stuff.
Yeah. Give me that
Yeah.
nature. Give me that hit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of it in and around the Nashville area that's really cool. But I'm glad it seems like you're finding like your people here though, man. You know, especially the mental health part of it. Like when I first linked up with Jacqueline and Bobby, like it was just kind of like simpatico, you know. Um, and again, I don't know how it happened through the algorithms or like social media or whatever, but I'm like, yeah, like similar wavelengths, you know, with the mental health songwriters nights and um the stuff that she shared with me that she's uh been through and Bobby, like that was so cool to be able to go to Stay Fest in September. And now she's doing like a tour this summer. So yeah, man. Well, for you, Honeysuckles is the new one, right? Like as we're recording this, I think it's I don't even think it's been out for what, 2 weeks? I don't even think as we're doing this.
Yeah, she's my
Um,
song baby out in the wild. Yeah, Honeysuckles is a different vibe for me. I feel like sonically, but I love the play space, and it feels very just like it. I feel like writing that I needed to kind of express the sadness I feel towards the loss that we're experiencing as a collective with playing outside and picking honeysuckles. Like there's this takeover of tech and corporations, and it's been happening for decades, but it's really in our face now. And I think, yeah, this song is my like way of kind of coping with it, making it optimistic because it's really skippy sounding. But if you listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh,
I was gonna say like the melodies in it and like the like just the musicality of it. It's like uplifting, like just like the vibe of it. So I actually think that's like a cool kind of juxtaposition. Is that the right word to use?
yeah.
Of those two things colliding. How long had you had that one in the chamber, Nadia?
So I wrote that back in October of last year during Hell Yes Writers Camp that I got to do here in Nashville with just friends. They're a husband and wife producer duo here in town. They're amazing. You should chat with them. Um, and like it was such an effortless write. I went and sat down. Callie and Gabe are their names, and I sat down with them, and I was just like, I've been feeling a little nostalgic lately. I was like, and nostalgia is one hell of a drug, which is like the line that ended up in the bridge. And I was like, I just really miss picking honeysuckles. And like I was just like, it started out as a conversation. And I feel like Callie and I probably had a very similar upbringing. And we also like all lived in Atlanta too, which is also kind of like a crazy, like weird uh serendipity type of thing. And yeah, we were just reminiscing. It was such like a trip down memory lane. And we were like just creating the Skippy Doo like melody. And it was like I feel like we wrote the song in like an hour and a half, like maybe an hour. Like it was just like, boom, here we go. This is it. So
Do you find that the ones that you don't have to tweak too much end up being like some of your favorites? Like the ones that seem like they come kind of like more effortlessly?
I think there is something special about those. They feel more therapeutic in certain ways because there was no grind to get them. And I feel like we're always grinding. Like, so they just kind of have like a, a happy, light feeling every time I sing them or hear them. I'm like, oh yeah, that one was easy.
Have you ever had to like step aside doing something or like be coy about it because you had a melody in your head or you had a line in your head and you're like, I don't want to lose this. I have to like hum it into my phone or like jot down a note. Like, how often does that happen as a songwriter where you're like, you have something, you're like, I don't want to lose that?
All the time. I was literally in the middle of a guided meditation. So I was doing this thing with my friend Marin a couple weeks ago. Um, it's called Inner Matrix Systems, where she like does a guided type of exercise where she takes you through things that are holding you back from a certain goal and the things that you're going to visualize to not be held back from said goal. So anyway, she's in the middle of it and I just get this idea. Like that's the beautiful thing about meditation is it makes you so present to where like the creative force can just kind of tap in and be like, hey. So I like got this little like moment and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I have to leave this meditation mentally for a moment and I need to make a note. And she was like, go ahead, no worries, we'll pick back up where we left off. So that's going to be turned into something soon, but
That's awesome. Well, shout out to the meditation for like, you know,
yeah.
getting the wheels turning, you know? Um, and for people who aren't aware, so Tyler, like, he's your producer, right? Like how's that like synchronicity been like getting into a rhythm like musically with him? Like, do you feel like you guys know each other like the back of your hand now in terms of like stuff that you like, how you like things to sound, how you like it to be like mixed?
Yes. So having a partnership with somebody that you're in creative partnership with is so beautiful. It's also very challenging, which I like to talk about both sides of that coin because I think it's important. Um, but we do have this beautiful, like, soul level understanding creatively that is like, I've never experienced it before, working with him. And he's like we like to refer to him as the final ear. So he mixes all of my stuff and he co-produces or produces some of my stuff. We also work with other producers too. And we've over the last year and a half started working with more producers, just to take a little bit of separation from the music, intertwined together. Because we find that it just makes our relationship better. Because there's just when you're working so closely with somebody for so long, it just can kind of create a little bit of a little, so we've put a little bit more separation in that regards. And I feel like the most important thing for us is that he's still that final ear because he has such a deep understanding of what I like when it comes to that mix. Like he knows exactly how I like the vocals to sit, how the EQ should be. Like he understands all of that on such a deep level and he makes everything sound so uniform in the catalog. And shout out to any couples that work together. Like, and I know any couples that are listening that do are in partnership and also business or creative partnership understand that is an added challenge to navigate. Um, and like best piece of advice is find pockets where you can create separation. So that way when you come together creatively or in business, it's more invigorating, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's good to have like even when you're with somebody, like personally or professionally, like you still need that kind of space with yourself or like separate from each other, to kind of then when you come back together, it's like a more powerful thing for sure. For
Yeah, there
sure.
were times in our journey creatively together where we were so gung ho and excited about like certain songs I had written or whatever, and we were just like, oh, let's like lay down the guitar. Let's before we knew it, like we had produced a whole song together, and then I think one day we just looked at each other and we're like, I think we're kind of burned out. Like we need to probably like bring in some new teammates, and we found some really incredible co-partners and co-creatives here in Nashville that we like adore working with. Shout out to Larry Gast and Jess. I love those dudes. But anyways,
How's that transition been to Nashville? Because you were in LA for a little bit too, right? So you
yeah.
kind of had some like big hubs like Atlanta, Nashville. Boy, my Midwest, you're like Atlanta. Oh my God, I haven't said it like
You
Atlanta.
and Tyler
Uh,
would have a ball talking in your Midwest accents.
he's
That was not
Illinois,
a Midwest
right?
accent.
He,
Yeah, he's from just outside of Chicago, a tiny town called Oregon, Illinois.
okay, okay,
Population like 3,000.
but that's still sick though. He's chasing his musical dreams too, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Is he a Bears
Um,
guy?
actually, why can't I think of it? Wow, my brain really isn't working.
Bears, Bull,
Um,
Cubs, they're
uh,
all like animals.
no, the cheese, Wisconsin.
He's a
Uh,
Pack man.
Packers. Yeah, thank you.
Um,
I do sports. I'm sports.
you had the cheese right. Oh
Yeah.
man, I'd be curious to pick his brain about that, especially because like the Bears and the Packers, those are rivals. So yeah, that's an interesting. But shout out to the Midwest, man. The Midwest, it's like when I can hear it down here too in Nashville. Nashville's weird though, and I wonder if you've picked up on this. It's like you'll meet people from Nashville that are like have the southern twang, you know what I mean? And then you meet people who talk like you and me. It's like the weirdest thing because it's like when you go to Toledo where I'm from, you don't hear like you're not going to be like, well, the other day I was up there and you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. You get people that have like that southern twang, but then you get people that it's like flat and they're like, "Yeah, I'm from Nashville." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But anyway, like what was that transition like coming to Nashville? I mean, obviously it's like the music city, right? And I didn't know when I moved here that it was more than just country. I don't know
Yeah.
why I thought it was just country when I came here. And then I started going to shows in the local music scene and like meeting people. And I'm like, dude, there's everything is here. But what has that transition been like or and even that decision to come to Nashville?
So I was living in Atlanta. I'll just take you back to how I wound up in LA real quick. So I was living in Atlanta. I really like was like I need to change my cities if I'm going to do this music thing. And I actually had my sights set on Nashville initially. And in hindsight, I probably would have fared better coming to Nashville because of where I was at in my creative journey. But actually, I'm glad that I'm doing Nashville later. Um, we'll get to that. So I end up uh, pivoting, and I'm like all of a sudden like fixated on LA for some reason, and I decide, fuck it, I'm gonna pack up my Toyota Corolla and we're gonna go to LA. And did the whole cross country drive, went with very little resources, and rented a room in a North Hollywood apartment. And like day two there, I was like scouring Instagram for people I wanted to work with. And I came across Tyler's Instagram and I listened to some of his mixes and I was like, oh, he's really good. So I sent him a message and I was like, hey, like he still has the message screenshotted, and he has like the date of like are you like he has a little universe thing that he made me, like the date our universe began, and it's like the date that I messaged him on Instagram. But it's funny because he and I actually worked together platonically for like almost 2 years. But anyways, so I message him, we meet, he like listens to my demos, he's like, these are good, like you kind of need to work on yourself, but like there's potential. Like he's very Midwestern, like very honest. But he's like, yeah, like we could like let's try working on this one. I like this one's strong. So he mixed it and it sounded amazing. And I was like, and like mind you, the 4 or 5 years prior to this, I was trying to make music in Atlanta and I couldn't get it to, and like I even like did a like stint of a project with some people here in Nashville, like just on a trip visiting. And I just couldn't get what I heard in my head to come forward. Like I just like I knew the quality was off and I didn't know anything about mixed notes or anything about like EQ or how any of this stuff worked on the back end. I just was like, this isn't it. This isn't it. And he played me the first pass of our first mix together and I was like, this whole time. And we started working together from there. And like I said, we worked together platonically for almost 2 years. And then one day our hug changed. Like we just like we both went in for the hug. And I was like, oh, this feels different. And like maybe like a few nights later, he gives me a call and he's like, I just want to let you know I have feelings for you. And mind you, like I had been in a relationship, he had been in a relationship. So like that also like kind of kept us like being keep it professional. I had categorized him for my own mental health. Like this is my bro. So like there was like some rearranging that had to go on like to like recategorize. He also had to like work through his breakup. I had to work through my breakup. But we were on this like weird like song and dance of like, are we gonna date? Are we not gonna date? And I at this point, because I had left a very toxic relationship with a gentleman that was not so great, I was like, I'm just switching teams. Like I'm altogether done with men. Like I was like, I like, but like I mental note was like the only way I would ever date another man is if it was Tyler. Then fast forward to me getting the phone call with him, like after I've like gone on dates with all these women, like, and he's like, hey, I have feelings for you. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not changing teams. Um, and yeah, we started dating. It was during pandemic times, like we're still kind of popping, and things got really rough in LA, and we realized like we couldn't afford to stay, we couldn't afford to leave. So we called his parents, and they were like, we're gonna get the neighbor's trailer and we're just gonna strap it to the back of the truck and we're gonna come get you, and whatever fits in the trailer we'll take you wherever you want to go. And we were looking at housing in Atlanta and it was looking pretty feasible for us comparatively to some other markets because everything was exploding because everyone was doing the mass exodus out of New York and LA. And you know, my family was there, so we're like, okay, cool, Atlanta it is. And we did the Atlanta thing for a little while, and his accident took place there, and we really needed to be in a city like where we had that particular support system. And you know, after our, you know, we healed certain things through the accident, we looked at each other one day and we're like, we need to get back to a music city, but not LA. And now we're here. Tyler planted a seed with an old, because he went to school at MTSU actually before he moved to LA, and he planted a seed with an old colleague and found a job, and yeah.
Well, I mean, shout out to, just the universe and the stars aligning, you know. I think it's good too with relationships when you're friends first.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too like, if it's too intense too fast, I feel like sometimes the things that burn bright quickly, like or burn bright, like burn out faster sometimes with a lot of things in life, you know. Um, so, that's cool that you guys were able to like, you know, slow burns make that's probably not the right way. I'm trying to find the right way to say it, but yeah, like friends first, takes time,
Yeah.
um and I'm glad that you guys, yeah, made your way to Nashville because there's a lot of really good people here. And I think, yeah, MTSU has like a really, from what I understand, has like a really good music program, um and like production. There's a buddy I went to high school with whose brother I think went there and did like music production. But yeah, it's cool. And I like that about Nashville too, that it's like it's kind of like a melting pot. You meet people from like the Midwest. Obviously the last few years, like you said, after COVID, there's a lot of people here from the West Coast because I moved here in 2015. Actually, my first full day in Nashville was Halloween of 2015. I drove down on October 30th, and then like the next day I was Ghostbuster at a Halloween party with people a lot of people I didn't really know. Shout out to my friends Jordan and Abby, who took me to it, and anxiety kicked in a little bit like at one point I'm like, I'm at a house in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, like 500 plus miles away from home. This isn't like what I do. But like life happened and Nashville's, I've had my ups and downs here. But I like over the last few years, like doing this show and meeting people and like the music scene, there's so many good people here, man. Like there really is. And there's so many good people, and then there's like so many good people like you, like genuinely, and like I'm not blowing smoke, but like really good musicians. And even though I guess I shouldn't be surprising because it's Nashville and this is like an epicenter for music, um, I don't know. It's just been really refreshing to like doing this show and like stepping outside of like my kind of little like reclusive box I was in for a little bit was with just some of the stuff that I was going through on a personal level and meeting people at shows and it seems like there's a lot of people really rooting for each other, which is cool. Because I think that that's the way it should be. Like high tide raises all ships, you know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, I'm glad that you guys found your way to Nashville.
Yes, it's been such a good change, and it's true that this city lends itself to people genuinely like making it a point to support and collaborate, and it's not an energy that exists so much in LA, at least in my experience. It was really tough to find community there, so I'm thankful to be in a city where I feel like pretty quick. Like I've lived in a lot of different cities, and like this was the first place that I moved where I was like, oh, like we're home, you know? So
For sure. Well, before we wrap it up, Nadia, because I told you I wouldn't keep you more than an hour, and we're like very close to that.
no
Um,
worries.
there's a few more shout outs and just giving you your flowers really quick. So for people who aren't aware of your sound, like please finish the conversation and then go check out our catalog. The links will be in the description. But I also thought the diversity of covers were cool. Lizzo was in there. Billy was in there. Uh, the heart-shaped box cover, again, if I like them all, but I think that one hit home for me because like that was like just being a little guy in the 90s and like grunge, like that's some of my favorite music. And you really did a really awesome. I mean, and again, the other two were great too, but your rendition of that was like really, really good. Because
Thank
even in
you.
Nirvana's catalog, I feel like that's I mean, obviously Kurt Cobain and that whole bit, like there was a lot of like really cool, moody songs, but that one has that like I can't describe it. It's like a cinematic moodiness, if that even makes sense. And
Yeah,
I thought the piano, like taking that riff and making that into piano with your voice, and that was like chef's kiss. It was really awesome.
thank you. And yeah, that's what I've always heard ever since hearing that song as a kid. I was like, this song is so cinematic and epic. And yeah, it was a really fun one to like revamp that way. So thanks.
You're welcome. And just a few more before I get you out of here. And I didn't prep you for this one, but like, what would be your dream lineup? So like, if you like close your eyes and you picture your name like on the marquee, and it's like Nadia Vaeh and I don't know, like two other artists.
Oh my goodness. This is a lot of pressure. There's so many people I want to say, but you're only giving me two. Oh my God.
You can say, okay, we can take the two off of there. I was thinking like a three lineup bill,
No,
that
that's appropriate. That's proper.
but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't. It could be like a festival. It could be a festival
Yeah.
too.
I mean, honestly, if I could do any sort of lineup or collaboration with my queen, Haley, like Paramore or Haley, like I just adore her, and she's such a formative part of my music career. Um, and then honestly, Green Day. Yeah.
That's pretty damn good.
If I had to do those, just the two, I think yeah, those two.
Pretty good. And because I really appreciate the creativity in the music videos, are there any music videos for you? And again, I hate putting a number on things, but if you had a few that you could put into a time capsule, like I guess say let's like 3 to 5. are there music videos outside of your own from other artists where you're like to this day you're like that's still as dope as it is now as when I saw it when I was a kid, or even recent ones? Like if you could put five in a time capsule for like, I don't know, people in the year 3000, if Earth makes it. If we
Yeah. There's this one by Fiona Apple that I just remember being like, that's so cool. Like she's literally just like standing still. Uh, I'm like trying to recall music videos now in my brain. But there's this one that Fiona Apple has where it's like the scenery, like there's stuff going on behind her, I think, and she's just kind of standing. I can't think of the song. But I just like I remember thinking like this is kind of iconic. Like it's so simple, yet so effective and so emotive. Um and then let me think. I'm like trying to recall music videos and my brain isn't pulling anything up other than Fiona Apple, which hey, queen. Um, I can't think of anything right now. My brain is literally blank. But yeah, that's like the one music video that's pulling up in my brain files. Like what the I don't know what like am I a millennial? Like did I lie? What the fuck? Like
No, it's all
anyway.
good. It's all good, man. I always liked Corn Freak on a Leash. I just remember thinking that was so dope when like the bullet was going through everything when I was a kid. Um, the Falling Away from Me video from Corn. I'm kind of a metalhead. I mean, I love it all, but that's like my roots is like the heavy stuff. That got me through some dark.
Family values tour with my mom and
You
Corn.
went?
Yeah, I went to the one in Atlanta. Um, and I remember my mom was like, she was like she always tried to be supportive, but she like Corn was playing and I was just loving it. I was having the best time. And she looks at me and she goes, Corn must have had a bad crop. I was like, okay, honey. But yeah, yeah, that was a great lineup. It was like Flyleaf, Avenged Sevenfold, Corn. Yeah, fun.
That's pretty sick. Well, I won't keep you. I've already kept you a little over an hour. I'll get you out of here on this. And I know it's kind of a heavy way to wrap up, but it's usually how I wrap up. And thank you again so much, Nadia. I really appreciate your time. I feel like
Yeah.
I could talk to you for like 4 hours, but I won't. Shout out to Tyler, fellow Midwest brethren. Look forward to meeting you both one day in person soon. Um, but just with the theme of the show being like perseverance and moving forward, we kind of talked about it a little bit and how you transmute darkness into light. But even though I'm not a doctor and this podcast is for entertainment purposes, um, I do like to try to like reach people or hope the show reaches people in a positive way. So to somebody who's maybe struggling or just kind of fair to middling right now, like what advice would you give them with things that have helped you get through like the tough times, or even now when like darkness kind of arises in your life, like anything that kind of works for you that you feel like might be like semi universal to somebody who might be struggling right now?
To anyone out there who's struggling, lean in to something creative. Make time for yourself. Like get out of whatever loop. Like go take yourself on a walkie, dog or not. Like and the biggest thing that I think whenever I'm like in a negative cycle or loop is like I have to find some sort of way to like throw a rock in the spinny wheel and like make it stop. And the best ways that I can support that generally are going outside, changing my scenery, connecting with nature, and doing something to pour into my cup, whether that's like making myself a cup of hot cocoa or like sitting and writing, like just literally writing, word vomiting. It doesn't have to be like a great poem that people like are moved by. It's just like taking everything that's going on in here and putting it somewhere else. And also, don't be afraid to lean on your community, reach out. And if you don't feel like you have that safe space, reach out to an artist. Check in with me. Feel free to send me an Instagram message because yeah, it's I think the biggest thing is not feeling alone and like having that connection can bring us out sometimes. So.
Well, Nadia, I genuinely appreciate your time. Thank you for being open and honest. Thank you for going a little bit over. I try to be really good about that, so I'm sorry I kept you a little bit over. Uh,
Fine.
but yeah, I really dig your sound, and yeah, I'm glad Tyler made it through. I'm glad you've been able to take all the darkness that you've had in your life too, and translate it positively, and that you're finding your community here in Nashville, and that you took time with this goofball. So you're welcome back anytime. I will put up the links in the podcast description, but everybody go listen to Honeysuckles. That's the latest one. But let them know where they can find you out there, Nadia.
Well, first, thank you for hosting this and for having me. And you all can keep connected with me on the internets, all the social media everywhere under Nadia Vaeh. That's NADIA VAEH. And how I tell people to remember that last name is just flip heaven around backwards and grab the first four letters. And I appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for rocking with me. And we'll see you on the interwebs and hopefully at a show soon.
All righty, dighty. There you have it. That was my conversation with Nadia Vaeh. Make sure you go follow her on Instagram at Nadia Vaeh, and that is spelled NADIAVAEH. You can also check out her website, nadiavaeh.com. And I believe it's Nadia Vaeh on all of her socials, YouTube, and everything. So you know what to do, or maybe you don't, and I'm about to tell you. Just scroll down to the bottom of the podcast description, hit those links, and go follow and support Nadia. They'll all be right there. Again, some of my favorites: Caught in the Middle, Anxiety, the new one, Honeysuckles, Feel the Heat, Friends You Couldn't Keep, I Think Too Much, Rewind. Really, really awesome sound. I think poptimistic-rock is such a cool way to put it, because that's exactly what it is. But if you're into pop punk, if you're into emo, if you're into alternative rock, if you're into introspective lyricism, she's got some that are on like the slower side. We talked about the really dope cover that she did for Heart Shaped Box from Nirvana, which was sick. So she's really given the people a lot of really cool aspects, I think, of her creativity as an artist. And I'm genuinely a new fan and a big fan. So I just want to say directly to Nadia, thank you so much, Nadia, for taking the time to come on the podcast. I know you're a busy cat and you got a lot going on. So anytime somebody takes the opportunity to take time out of their day and time, shout out to Max Gabriel, an awesome producer in Nashville and a friend. He said to me one time, time is the one thing that we do not get more of. And, that always stuck with me. So anytime somebody takes the time to join me on this show and share their journey with myself and the listeners, I really, really appreciate it. And I just think it's really awesome that you've been able to take the darkness and negativity that you've gone through in your life and translate it into a positive modality with your music, Nadia, and connect with people in a positive way. And I'm terribly sorry for everything that you've gone through and losing your mom at a young age. But I think it's awesome that you're translating it into your music, and you're taking that darkness and turning it into light with the way that you connect with other people. It's a really beautiful thing. So shout out to you, shout out to Jacqueline, shout out to all the mental health supporters out there. Shout out to everybody out there who treats people they want to be treated. And for, again, anybody who's struggling right now, please keep your head up. You are loved, you are worthy, you are worth it, you have a purpose, even if you haven't discovered it. And the world's not going to get a chance to see that if you're not here. And so please keep your head up and understand that life is full of ups and downs, but I promise there's light if you just fight the good fight and keep on trucking, man. And I'm also going to put a link in the podcast description for this week's episode that will give you help for mental health resources in your area. And again, shout out to everybody out there who just treats everybody equally, regardless of their walk of life or their skin color or their sexual orientation. Man, we all got to look out for each other out here. So I appreciate y'all. You can follow me once again at March 4th Pod on all social platforms. My links will be in the podcast description for this episode. If you did enjoy what you heard, one thing that goes a long way in helping get these things out to more people is if you leave a rating and a review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to this episode on. I know in particular Spotify and Apple have a 5-star rating system. So if you leave a 5-star rating for the show, maybe a little comment on the episode, to my knowledge, that lets these mysterious algorithms know that you thought the show was dope, you thought Nadia was dope, maybe you thought I was cool, or maybe you just thought I was a goofball and I was entertaining. Either way, those things will help the show get out to more people. It'll help put Nadia's music out to more people, and that'll create hopefully more opportunities and just beautiful connection in the world. So if you want to do that, I appreciate it. And if you want to holler at me on socials, I do my best to try to get back to people. But all that being said, I hope that this is your best summer yet. I hope that this is your best year yet. And if nobody's told you lately, I love you. You are worthy. You are worth it. You are loved. And please don't quit. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks again to Nadia. Keep the faith and be kind to one another and be kind to yourselves. Courtesy of Nadia Vaeh, here is her latest single, Honeysuckles. Peace.
It was twilight, lightning bugs light up the sky into the moonlight. We were fearless of the night. Our little town is burning out. The stars fell down, they're fluorescent now. Mom and pops replaced with parking lots. It won't stop. Rotten classics, world of plastic, flip to static. Gone are the golden days, the rainbow slowly fading. All been replaced with brown and gray thin cardboard siding. It's all built with bloody knuckles on the backs of burnout. While children pick honeysuckles, Gone are the golden days, the rainbow is slowly fading. All been replaced